Alright everybody, I've got some bad news. GTA 6 is not coming out. Okay, well that's not the full story, okay? GTA 6 may not be coming out on day one with a physical release. Yeah, it doesn't sound quite as bad, but yeah, this is definitely quite a big thing if this actually is true. So it turns out there is a trusted leaker who has said that, well, to prevent leaks, GTA and Rockstar, they've decided not to have a day one physical release, but it's not just going to be forever that it's 100% digital. There will eventually be a physical release. That is all according to this rumor. It's not official, to, take it with a grain of salt. I've got this in the description. This is all apparently from a trusted leaker called Graczdari. I think I'm saying that right, Graczdari. I'm not sure. So this is a leaker who in the past revealed correctly several things with Microsoft Flight Simulator, Oblivion Remastered, and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. So it's a credible leaker apparently, and it says this source, who handles physical video game sales in Europe, informed us that GTA 6 publisher Take-Two is currently not planning a physical edition of Lucia and Jason's story, which is GTA 6, at least not for release due to possible story or gameplay leaks, as we saw with The Last of Us 2, for example. Yeah, and this is actually why, like, Nintendo games, big, huge AAA, big release Nintendo games, this is kind of why they have, in the recent past few years now, they've been leaked kind of like weeks before they come out. Unfortunately, it sounds like it's due to the fact that they have these retail copies that come out. They get shipped to these warehouses, GameStops, Walmarts, whatever, about a week or two early. So some warehouse worker somewhere allegedly just snags themselves a copy, and then there's just not like a day one update that's required to actually play the game. So then boom, they got the game, and then they can leak it early. Definitely bad. Sounds like GTA and Rockstar and Take-Two, they want to prevent something like this from happening with what will be the biggest release of a video game probably ever. But this isn't going to be forever. This could just be for maybe just the first few months or even just the first few weeks, and then the physical copy would be released. It says, according to the initial unconfirmed reports, GTA 6 will first debut digitally on consoles, with a physical release only sometime later. Now, the source does not know whether this will happen a few weeks after launch or only just in the first half of 2027. Yeah, kind of conflicting stuff there. So it goes on to say that one informant said, "We are hearing more and more that the physical version won't be released simultaneously with the digital version to prevent leaks." It says, "We're getting conflicting reports. Some say the physical version will arrive 3 to 4 weeks after the digital release, while others say it will not happen until early 2027. More info will be available in mid-February." So that's about a few weeks from now. Big takeaway is that if this is actually true, the wave of the physical release, that'll just come out, it sounds like, at the latest, a few months after the official digital release. I want to throw this in there as a side note. This is just totally a theory, but the whole thing about Rockstar, them releasing the PC version like a year or two later, and people are kind of mad about that, and there's kind of the theory, it's not confirmed, but just the theory that that is done really just to get like double sales in there from diehard fans. Like, people are going to go out, buy a console, and then they'll buy the console version of GTA 6 on day one, and then they'll buy the PC version a couple years later, and then boom, that's a bunch of people that buy 2 copies of the game. Well, here's my theory. If this whole thing is actually happening, where you got the digital version on day one, and then the physical release, a few months later, maybe this is going to be something that is actually an intended benefit, where you can get people to buy the game 3 different times, the digital version on day one, and then the physical version when that comes out, and then the PC version when that comes out. That's all just a theory. I think if something like this is really happening, probably the main primary reason for it happening is probably to prevent the whole leak thing from happening, so that hopefully you don't have like massive piracy before the game comes out. But yeah, that whole thing, that whole theory about people, buying it digitally and then physically and then, on the PC, that could just be an unintended benefit that maybe they're kind of hoping for on the side. But who knows? That is just a theory. Overall, though, this rumor could be true, could not be true. We will see if it is actually true as we get closer to the release date.